things up a little bit. We're the last presentation, and we're going to do our a whole team kind of tag team presentation here. And so we are group 5, and we are talking about opportunities exist to improve and expand transportation and mobility. And as you'll see in the presentation, we really focus on mobility specifically. I'm Jeanette Pierce. I'm the Executive Director of the Detroit Experience Factory, which is a nonprofit that I've been around 11 years, and we help people get educated about what's going on in Detroit. And I am a Morningside, grew up in Morningside until I was 22, and then I moved downtown, but I am a East Sider in my heart all the time. So I was on Audubon for those that are our local folks. And so then we also have
with Michigan Canal Development Corporation,
and
Erin Kelly from the city's planning department.
So we want to just start by just briefly talking about some of the really great assets and how much we just absolutely love the neighborhoods that you guys are living and working and engaging in. And some of the great assets there include Baldock Park and that sledding hill, which West Siders don't even understand, right? But also $2.7 million in recent investment into the park is absolutely amazing. You have the new East English Village High School, which was a $47 million, 221,000 square foot campus. Great small businesses that have been around a really long time, like Bike Tech or Nottingham Pharmacy, and then some larger shopping destinations at Point Plaza. Absolutely beautiful housing stock, especially in the East English Village area. And public library, the Jefferson branch of the library, the Alger Theater, built in 1935. We've talked about a lot of these things throughout. And then even adjacent, so maybe not just right in the neighborhoods, but the Corrigan Playground or MASH, St. Clair Mount Falco, we had a pretty photo of that. But one of the things that we just want to make sure people know about are all of the great assets that you guys have in your neighborhoods, and we want to get the word out about those a little bit more as well, both to people in the neighborhoods, because one thing that we talked about with the community when we were talking with people is that maybe Cornerstone folks and Morningside folks don't even, or East English Village might not necessarily know all the things that are in everybody's neighborhoods. And so one of the things we wanted to point out on this is that we have all these lovely people on our team. Unfortunately, John Foss couldn't make it today. He had family obligations. But one thing we want to point out is that we are talking about mobility, and none of us are mobility professionals or have very much experience in it, besides walking places, biking places, and driving places.
All right, so that causes us to ask a question, which is, what is mobility, right? Which maybe the beginner's mind was the gift of our assignment, since none of us had, a professional specialty in mobility. So does that mean cars? Does it mean wheels? Does it mean sneakers? And this being the Motor City, our sense was this is about transportation. So we're going to take on the question of mobility, related to things that move. So we have the question of really, how do you define mobility? What is that? And we arrived at an answer that is not on the screen, but that mobility is about the movement of people, right? It's about connecting people and goods, and that was what we would seek through our work in these neighborhoods. So we decided to do an experiment. And there are 4 of us, so we each had the chance to test 4 different modes of connecting ourselves, starting from downtown out into the neighborhoods. And this is a montage about what happened. The intent was to try different modes of using, whether it was public transit, cabs, private rideshare services, the queue line and the bus to actually get to Morningside, get to the 3 neighborhoods from downtown. And so I thought I'd zoom into the Uber. So I was supposed to ride my bike, and it was kind of a colder, rainier day. There was some chaos at work, and I was late. I was late for a departure time, so I used my privilege and I called an Uber. And the Uber said it was going to be, about 14 minutes. I ordered the car, and 17 minutes later, I was at our meeting spot. I was actually the second person to arrive. And so this is a question of the dollars spent, right? I spent $14.40 to get to our meeting spot, and it was a very predictable, short time span to accomplish this. So we checked against Google, right? Because Google's pretty good at this stuff. And Google says, they estimated some times for how long it would take to use different modes of transportation. We kind of each documented our direct costs for these. So John drove his own car. He parked downtown, he used a meter, he used a gallon and a half of gas, and met us at the meeting location. That's the direct cost. The indirect we calculated using time. And we use the median income for a Detroit resident, which is about $12.60 an hour. And so if you understand this just by the amount of initial cost, right, so it's technically free to ride your bike if you have one. It's free to walk if you have shoes and your body can do that. But there's the indirect cost of the duration. So we highlighted buses here because the bus strategy said 47 minutes.
Yes, and just really quick on that is a great example of, and which is probably common with our bus system. But I was actually going to take the Q line to the Warren bus and then take the Warren bus across was going to be my plan. We were going to be meeting at the actually at the Jefferson Branch Library originally. So I waited for the Q line for 20 minutes and it said 2 minutes coming in 2 minutes, that entire 20 minutes. So then I said, okay, maybe not this way. I'll just take the number 7 bus, which will drop me off by St. Matthews, and then I'll walk the rest of the way. And then this is where you can actually see on the app, it says bus arriving 1 minute. That's what we call a phantom bus. In this thing, because if you're familiar, you know, that bus did not arrive in that time. So I waited about 10 minutes already. That bus didn't show up, and then finally, and then the 17-minute one showed up like at around 20 minutes. So I got on, and the bus ride was great once I was on there and all those things. But from the minute that John and he's like, I'm going to take the car. I'm like, I'm going to take the bus. Walking and doing all these things. It ended up being 2 hours, 1 hour and 58 minutes. So I was absolutely the last to arrive.
With an Uber at the end.
And then because I was late and we ended up moving to the Detroit Diner, I got off at St. Matt's and Ubered to the Detroit Diner. So that is a very, some of those barriers that when people say, oh, take the bus, if you're not familiar with it, that there can be a lot of barriers. And even though it's getting better, it's still a mobility challenge that we have in our city.
So that was the quantitative, right? I think that was a nice summary of the qualitative experience that some of us experience with the mobility. And so, and that's just modes of transit, right? So we thought, but we don't live on the east side. What about actual residents in the neighborhood, right? We were coming from downtown trying to get out to the east side. What about the inverse? It's probably different. How long did it take to get a cab? Half an hour. Yeah, so it took half an hour to get a cab downtown. How is that different